Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm playing some cats in Historic. Why not? This is going to be the deck tech video, of course, if you just want to jump into gameplay as usual. Annotation up in the top right hand corner, or you can click on the link down in the description below, take you over to another video where I play a bunch of games with this deck. You can see how well it performed. So I was thinking about other tribes in Historic the other day, tribes that were underrepresented because there are a lot of really cool ones, and it dawned on me, what would a cats deck look like in Historic, and could it actually compete in any capacity? Well, I threw this together, and yeah, it's all right. It's fun. It does some cool stuff, and it's cats. Who doesn't like playing cats from time to time? So I'm going to go over all the cards in the deck and give you an idea of how it plays. So to start off, let's talk about the non-cats. We are playing 4 copies of Llanowar Elf, and of course 4 copies of Collected Company. Llanowar Elf is just a necessary evil when you're playing a Collected Company creature deck, because of course you want to have your Collected Company on turn 3 if possible. If you don't have a Collected Company and you have a Llanowar Elf on turn 1, it also helps you get into these awesome 3 drops on turn 2, and that's maybe something you want to be doing. Also in the 1 slot, Long Tusk Stalker, my new favorite cat. It's pretty sweet. It's going to give us a little bit of energy when it enters the battlefield or when it attacks. You may remember this card from my energy video from last week. I love this card. It's super fun. Now, we're not doing any other energy stuff, so it's all on its own in this respect, but it might give itself a little bit of a buff with its ability to give it +1/+0 perpetually, and it will give another creature in our hand +1/+0 perpetually for the cost of 2 energy. Not a bad little cat, and it gets pumped up by our lords. Over in the 2 slot, playing a couple of copies of Bronze Hide Lion. This card's all right. It's a 3/3 for 2, pretty good stat line, and then it has the ability to give itself indestructible. Then when it dies, it returns to the battlefield as an aura enchantment that can enchant a creature we control that gives it that same indestructible ability. Then 4 copies of the Adorned Pouncer. It is a double striking 1/1 for 2, which not great unless you have a lord out on the field, then it gets a little bit better. And then it has the ability to eternalize. It comes back from the graveyard as a token 4/4, and that can get really crazy because another non-cat creature in the deck, I guess, in a way, is the Seeker's Chariot. Only playing 1 copy of it, but this creates 2 cats when it enters the battlefield. And then when the chariot attacks, it makes a copy of a token. I have actually made copies of my 4/4 eternalized Adorned Pouncers before, and that is pretty sweet. Over in this 3 slot, that's when we get all the cool stuff. We have 2 copies of King of the Pride, a 2/1 that gives other cats +2/+1. Feline Sovereign, another lord, a 2/3 for 3. Other cats get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs. Big upside. And then it has actually a really cool ability. Whenever 1 or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls. It actually hasn't really come up yet when I was playtesting this deck, but I think this could be a really great ability just to have passively on a 3 CMC Lord. Then Kahira is the other Lord that gives +1/+1 to all of our cats. It also gives them Vigilance. Originally, I had Kahira as my companion in the deck. However, I decided to put Llanowar Elves into the deck because I felt like I needed them, and that forced me to bring the companion over into the main board, so I went up from 3 to 4. Not a big deal. Also playing 2 copies of Lurrus. It is technically a cat. It can bring back some of our pretty neat 1 and 2 drops from the graveyard, and it also is a 3/2 life-linking cat, so why not? And then finally 2 copies of Realm Walker, which is technically a cat. We can play cats off the top of our library. Sure, why not? The last card in the main board that I want to talk about is Fateful Absence. Of course, we need a little bit of removal. 2 copies of this. Maybe we should be going up a little bit more, but for now, 2 copies of this. Over in the lands, 2 copies of Lair of the Hydra. That's the only thing interesting. Everything else is pretty typical SELESNYA mana. And then over in the sideboard, I am playing 3 copies of Shaper's Sanctuary. This is a card that I have a kind of a soft spot for it. I really like it on turn 1. It doesn't really protect our creatures, but it kind of replaces them by allowing us to draw a card every time our creatures are targeted. Yeah, mostly playing it because I really like it, and I think there's a lot of spot removal in the format. I kind of want to see how this card performs against such heavy removal decks. Next, a little bit of removal for ourselves. 2 copies of Declaration Stone. Also playing 3 copies of Baffling End for more removal if we need it. 2 copies of Prowling Serpapod. This cannot be countered, and creatures we control can't be countered. It is a cat snake, so bring this in against heavy control decks, I guess. And then a couple of copies of Rest in Peace. 3, in fact, typical graveyard hate, and then 2 heroic interventions to come in to give all of our creatures a little bit of protection from board wipes. So that is the cat deck. I think it looks pretty cool. Please let me know what you think of this tribal deck, and please let me know if there are any other offbeat tribes that you would like to see being played in Historic. Maybe I'll get to them one day. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. Please check out the other video where I play this deck over 3 matches. Take care for now, and see you in the next one.